Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thursdoid, your one-stop shop for all things Project Zomboid. Thursdoid? That's weird, isn't it? That's right. I was on my way to the Project Zomboid website, actually looking to download the most recent form release for the playthrough that I have going on right now, because as you all know, well, I won't want to spoil it for you, but go check out the series if you watch it as to what happened. And I saw something where usually the Mundoid blog is. It was an update called the Mod Report. And I wanted to go check out what it was, and after reading about it, I decided I wanted to actually make a video for it because I feel like this is actually some important information, and there's some stuff I wanted to talk about that you'll probably be seeing in my series from now on, or at least very shortly thereafter, if not right away. That's a few mods. So with the recent release of one of the forums builds, mod support has been essentially, even more boosted, which is awesome, and they are seeing pretty much an explosion of mod support with all kinds of cool, neat features. And these are some of the best ones that are out there right now that they've made a nice, convenient list for. I'm going to go through them, talk about why I agree that some of these are some of the best ones, and the potential for gameplay changes to come and already implemented with these mods. So let's just go right into it. So the first mod they talk about is one that I promise you have probably heard me talk about a million times, and that is a spray paint mod. I have talked about this in my gameplays. God, I can't even count how many times it was, because it would just be easier for me if I had something that would mark a house is searched, or directions to certain areas if I get lost, etc., etc. And there is finally a spray paint mod created by Thursdoid, Peanuts, and RJ. This is huge because it absolutely changes the way gameplay works. God knows I've left doors open before. That was kind of the thing I did, is I left doors open if I searched a building. But it didn't really have the same effect because I still went into those houses and I still surprisingly found stuff. So leaving doors open didn't really matter all that much. And on top of it, if a door was destroyed by a zombie, for instance, or I destroyed it, I didn't know if it was destroyed by a zombie or myself. So I didn't, with my horrendous memory, I couldn't remember if a house had been searched or not. But with the spray paint mod, it is incredibly, that whole problem is incredibly fixed. It is fixed so easily with this. Now, the mod only has 17 custom icons that you can spray right now. I'm sure those will be added on to or changed. And you can only spray paint on non-natural ground, like like paved roads and stuff, which is fine. They're working on maybe getting a way to spray paint on grass and stuff that'll be easily washed away if rain comes, etc., etc. But right now, 17 is more than enough for me to mark where I've searched. And having that ability just immediately changes the way gameplay is done for people like me who need a bit more organization when they're playing. It just doesn't work as well for me if I'm just leaving doors open, but having the spray paint mod will change that, and that's awesome. Next up on the list is swap equipped. Very simply, I can hit tab and switch between my weapons. That's it. And that, as small of a change as that is an incredibly useful one. I can go from like my axe to my pistol with just the hit of a tab button. It's awesome. I like that a lot. Next up is the corpse mod. Now, this is a work in progress one that I think actually adds kind of a unique twist on the gameplay. I don't want to say it changes gameplay incredibly. In fact, it probably makes it a bit more dangerous. But what it does is that you can pick up corpses and move them and get them out of your house. So instead of like having a safe house, say, that you get bombarded into and you kill all of the zombies, and now your house is full of corpses and you just kind of have a house full of corpses at this point, you can now remove the corpses. But instead of it just being a nuisance and having bodies there, the longer the bodies are there, the higher the danger of becoming infected actually becomes. So having those zombie bodies rotting in your house, the longer that they're rotting in your house, the higher the chance you become infected. So not only is it just like an aesthetic thing, but it's something that you actually have to worry about as far as the gameplay standpoint is concerned, which is kind of cool. I like that a lot. So very cool to see that one in. And then next, which I don't know, no, it's not the last one. The next one, which is awesome, is lockpicking mod. So this adds two things. So as you know, doors can be locked, which leads you to go around from window to window, trying to prop open windows, and if you don't have the time, you take an axe and you break it down. But this adds two new options to the door situation. You can take your crowbar, if you have one, which actually has a use now, and you can basically pry open the lock and just pop the lock off, which is noisy, but it works, and you don't destroy the door in that sense. Or, as long as you have a screwdriver and, what is it? a bobby pin, a screwdriver, and a bobby pin, you can pick the lock. And locks have different difficulties, going from very easy to difficult or hard, very similar to how you would see it in Elder Scrolls games or Fallout. And you can pick the lock. The silent but slower method is to pick the lock and help the screwdriver, but if you fail, the lock gets broken. Again, very similar to Elder Scrolls. I like that a lot. That allows me to not have to worry so much about having to go from window to window and just sit there and wait for my character to prop open a window or smash the door down. Now, my worry is that with the crowbar action, if it's very easy and it's attracting a horde, wouldn't it be better to just smash the door down? Because it doesn't actually, smashing the door down doesn't actually attract that much noise, which is surprising. And if the crowbar situation actually creates more noise than the axe situation, you almost probably prefer doing the axe option. Again, I haven't tested it. This is all theoretical. This is me kind of theorizing the differences between the two, but something to keep in mind. Then they have the pillow silencer, which is kind of cool, and you can basically silence your gun with a pillow. I'm assuming it has some sort of durability or health before you shoot so many holes in the pillow that it gets destroyed, but it allows you to use a gun in a silent way, which is cool. I can see that being more useful when NPCs are brought in, though that is useful now to not attract the horde. But I can imagine if you want to kill, say, the leader of a particular survivor group, and he's home alone or something, and his people maybe are around or sleeping, a silent shot to kill him would be kind of cool. That would kind of be interesting. And I think last but not least is a sleeping overhaul, which is definitely something I like. The sleeping overhaul allows you to sleep on other things, but what happens is that your comfort level is determined by what you're sleeping on, so you might not have quality sleep when that happens, and your recuperation time is affected by negative psychological effects like stress or panic. So essentially, if you have you need to sleep, you need to, like, the night is coming, you need to go to bed, and you find like a chair, fine, you can sleep on the chair. A, you're not going to get a very comfortable sleep, obviously, especially if the chair is wooden. And B, it's going to affect you by becoming more stressed and panicked as the day goes on until you finally get some comfortable sleep, which I think is definitely worth it. But those are the main mods that are being shown off right now. I think it is, I'm definitely going to be using some of these in my playthrough. I definitely thought this was worth mentioning because it's actually incredibly important that modding community really takes hold of Zomboid by the balls, essentially, and starts injecting some of its own creative content, because that is what drives games like this, as I've said 100 times. But that's where I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Random Thursdoid report, but one worth checking out. Thank you guys again for your support, and as always, I will see you all next time.